Well, speaking of cartoon villains, Greg Abbott declares that Biden has broken the compact between the United States and Texas, and he invokes the right to defend itself from invasion.
Oh my God, Texas is saying that it's going to do something against the United States, seceding or otherwise? It must be a day that ends in fucking Y.
Yeah.
This stopped being news decades ago.
I mean, but this time there's actually, like, not really a standoff, but, like, there are, like, federal... I don't think it's the army, but there's like...
It's the National Guard.
Yeah, the National Guard. Like, there's the National Guard is, like, kind of in a standoff with the Texas Guard, or whatever it is. So, like, it's a bit of a tense situation. Now, I'm tempted to say, like, if any Democrat governor had done something like this in an election year, I guarantee you Trump and his campaign team would have been all over that, calling it election interference.
Yep.
Meanwhile, like, I saw tweets from people today that were, like, talking about this and being like, oh, well, Biden's fucked now because no matter what he did, like, he can't invade Texas himself in an election year. You're like, okay, the election year has nothing to do with that, but sure. But, like, they were trying to say that, like, oh, Biden's fucked because this happened during an election year. And it's like, yeah, so come to think of it, if something like this had happened and it was a Democrat doing it, you guys would have been all over that, calling it election interference. So, like, maybe Greg Abbott should stop interfering with the election. I know this has nothing to do with the election, but it just kind of made me laugh. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, I didn't even remember to look into this one, but Putin declared he declared that he owns Alaska now.
Yeah, his reasoning is that the contract between the U.S. and Russia, where we bought it for, I think it was $7 million at the time, was considered null and void. He just went like, no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take back Alaska.
Yeah. No, I mean, hopefully that's all just bluff and bluster.
So he said he was going to pull the nuclear option if he didn't get his way over in Ukraine 8 months ago.
Yeah.
At this point, he's a limp-dicked dictator, and he's going to say whatever he can to keep his people looking at him like, yes, look, he is strong. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
All right. Blaine says that contract is 156 plus years old. Yeah.
Yeah, it predates current Russia, the existence of Russia, and it predates the existence of the USSR, and goes back to before Russia was Russia and the USSR, back when it was Russia again. So, like, I feel like when the country goes through different states of existence like that, then its treaties from 150 years ago don't necessarily mean anything.
Like, we have existed as a country that had Alaska for longer than Russia has existed as a country that did not have Alaska, or as a country at all.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, Alaska would be one of the worst places for Russia to try to invade. Alaska's a very red state. We have a lot of people with guns there.
Okay. No. Per capita, you have a lot of people with guns, but if you don't have a lot of people there, period.
Look, I'm sure Zod could get 3 people to rally to his defense there. Maybe 4.
At least.
At least.
And hey, we've seen what the Ukrainians can do when they're determined, and there's only a few of them versus a bunch of Russians.
Look, when I was up in Alaska hanging out with them, there was like at least one other person in the chicken and waffles place we went to. At least, maybe 2.
Yep. Okay, so back to the story that we're supposed to be talking about. Greg Abbott accuses Joe Biden of breaking the compact between the United States and the states. He's invoking the Lone Star State's right to defend itself against invasion of the southern border. Except generally an invasion would be like a military invasion rather than refugees
what is he,
seeking asylum.
Is he just saying invasion because he likes the word? Are we doing the same thing we did with grassroots?
Probably, because like it's not an invasion; it is refugees seeking asylum. And like, yeah, there are issues with that system, but putting up barbed wire and deploying the military ain't gonna fix it.
Yeah, I feel like guns are not the solution to the immigration problem.
Yeah, there was a
Just
time.
just deploy more gun.
There was a time in American history when there were no requirements for immigration. If you moved there, you're American now.
Give us your poor, you're cold,
Yeah.
and you're hungry. Something.
That wasn't
something.
just that wasn't just a slogan. That was actually policy. But yeah, executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal law protecting the states, including immigration laws on the books right now. Yeah, which is why the border protection agencies exist and why they have processes for dealing with people seeking asylum.
Oy.
It's not like these people, like, for the most part, they don't just escape into the population. They end up spending time in jail because that's what your fucked up system does with them while they're waiting for their hearing to determine whether or not they are worthy of asylum.
And then we get to have conversations about how much slave labor we get to let them do in the prison system.
Yeah, and then we get white nationalists saying they're coming to take our jobs when they're talking about jobs that they wouldn't do anyway.
They're coming to take our job. Where? McDonald's. Do you work at McDonald's? No.
I got a
Then
comment
shut the
from
fuck up, Greg.
I got a comment from someone a few days ago that was they were saying that they live in an area that has a lot of stores that are understaffed. Like, there's not enough people working at the stores, and there are help wanted signs in all the windows, and usually there's like long lines of people waiting to get out because they have to wait for the one cashier to check them out.
Yep.
And this person will apparently they will frequently, when they overhear people talking about, like, just in their normal conversation, do the whole they're taking our jobs thing, be like, oh, why don't you go apply? They help wanted, like, there's jobs if you want to take one of these jobs that you're afraid of them taking.
Yeah. Nobody's saying you can't, buddy.
Yeah.
Was that whole, like, we don't have enough people working jobs. Oh, no, there's plenty of jobs. I'm working 3 of them, and I still can't afford rent. That whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they say the states should not be left to the mercy of lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. You want to talk about lawless president? Which one has 91 felony counts up against him right now?
Yeah.
But, like, even setting that aside, though, historically speaking, the cartels have always been more powerful when there's a Republican president. Like the South and Central American cartels, the drug cartels, the weapons cartels, right, probably the same people smuggling the illegal immigrants across that don't go through the system. They have more power when Republicans are in power.
Because when Republicans are in power, they tend to do the whole let's get hard on crime, and then suddenly that makes the cartels make a ton more money because everything that they peddle in becomes a lot more desirable.
Yeah. And it makes it easier to get guns because Republicans would never dream of passing a legislation that would make it harder to get guns. So
I have a funny story for you on that front, actually, Rhino. So I recently, a friend of mine said, hey, what gun do you have for home defense? Because when Call for an Uprising was doing his shit very loud and very publicly, I got a gun for home defense. It's a 22, though, which doesn't have a ton of stopping power. So he was like, hey, probably need to get you something that has more stopping power and has hollow point rounds so that when you use it, it doesn't, go into the drywall and hurt your dog or anything. Like, if you're going to have a self-defense gun, get a self-defense gun that actually does self-defense well. So I said, okay, we go to a gun shop to look at stuff. I found this Glock that I kind of liked, and I sit down to do my application process for registering to get the firearm, because every time you get a firearm, at least here in Georgia, you register so that they know who has what thing with what serial code.
Mm-hmm.
Funny story. So I had to submit for a background check because that was, the policy they had there. I submit for the background check. Usually it comes back within a few minutes. For some reason, their system said that it could not come back that quickly. So they gave me a piece of paper that said, we have until the 19th to get your background check. If we don't get your background check in time, then we are legally allowed to just sell you the gun anyway without background check.
Oh my God.
I'm just sitting there like, then what the fuck is the point of the background check? What's the point of having me do the fucking background check if you've got a clause that says, hey, come back in a week and you can just get it anyway? Why the fuck is this here?
That makes no sense. Oh.
It's just one of those things where, like, if somebody wants to tell me that it's not easy to get a gun in the American South, I'm just like, no, I went and fucking did it. It's blindingly easy.
Yeah. So he listed a bunch of stuff, said, for these reasons, I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, to invoke Texas' constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. This is an invasion. Like, I would think that these documents would define what an invasion is, and there would have to be something military about it, I would think. I don't know.
It can't just be the brown people are coming up from the South.
Yeah. Abbott's declaration of his authority is likely a response to the Supreme Court's ruling on Monday that federal border patrol agents could cut razor wire put up along the border by Texas. So yeah, they've been putting razor wire up to hurt families with kids that are just trying to, come and have a chance at living the American dream.
Yeah, because the cartel is not going to be bringing people in through, like, by throwing them up the walls and joists. The cartel is going to bring people in vehicles because the cartel has infrastructure.
Yeah, but the razor wire is a picture that they can take and say, look, we're doing something about the border.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't actually do anything. I don't know. Republicans suck. They're like, you just remember shit like this when they say that they're pro-life. Like, pro-life as long as it's straight white Christian.
We're so pro-life, we want your life to be scattered all across the wire. Republicans, everybody.
Adam Broughton says, I'm so glad it's way harder to get deadly weapons in Canada. The whole idea of concealed carry freaks me out, and I'm in the military. Yeah, no, I still remember the first time I was in an airport and I saw people in the military just walking around the airport with their machine guns slung across their shoulder. And it made me super duper uncomfortable. Like, I know these are people in the military, so they're theoretically trained in how to use these things properly. So they're not going to just accidentally shoot me, but like, I'm like just a couple meters away from this killing machine that like at the whim of the person carrying it, or even accidentally maybe, is so easy to just like kill a bunch of people with the thing.
I'm the opposite. Concealed carry doesn't freak me out too much because in my brain that's just somebody trying to make sure that they have self-defense. The thing that freaks me out is the open carry, because those are the people that are like, look at me, I got my collision on my back, and it sounds American enough for me.
They're the ones that are looking for the brown person to look at them the wrong way and say, I was afraid for my life, that's why I shot.
I know how to use this thing.
Yeah.
You better not act uppity. Like those people. Like, nah. Those are the ones that freak me the fuck out.
Yeah. I don't know. They all freak me out. Get your guns away from me.
Our guns have cooties. Keep them away.
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie Chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.